This K&N air intake system is designed to increase vehicle power and acceleration by reducing restriction in the intake path. The intake kit fits the vehicles shown, as well as additional vehicles identified on the K&N website or catalog. The K&N air intake system is guaranteed to produce a measurable increase in vehicle horsepower. K&N has extensive testing facilities that include several chassis dynamometers used to precisely measure engine and drivetrain horsepower and torque. The kit includes components that have been designed or matched to the needs of the vehicle to produce a safe horsepower increase. Detailed installation instructions are included with this kit. The tools needed for this install are shown. The first step of the install is to turn off the ignition and disconnect the negative battery cable. Remove the two fasteners which secure the fresh air intake scoop. Remove the fresh air intake scoop from the vehicle. Disconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection and unhook the mass air sensor wiring harness from the airbox. Release the spring clamp which secures the crankcase vent hose to the valve cover port. Then disconnect the crankcase vent hose from the valve cover. Loosen the two hose clamps which secure the stock intake tube to the throttle body and air filter housing. Remove the stock intake tube from the vehicle. Remove the bolt shown which secures the air filter assembly to the mounting bracket. Lift up the airbox assembly to unhook it from the mounting grommets, and then remove the airbox from the vehicle. Remove the ECU bracket mounting bolt. Install the long piece of the edge trim onto the heat shield. Apply the short piece of the edge trim onto the heat shield. Install the two 7/16 ID grommets that are provided into the mounting holes in the heat shield. Attach the heat shield bracket onto the heat shield. Do not completely tighten the bracket at this time. Install the heat shield assembly into the vehicle so that the grommets fit tightly over the factory airbox mounting studs. Place the supplied spacer under the heat shield mounting bracket and then secure the bracket to the ECU mounting bracket with the provided hardware. Secure the front of the heat shield to the front airbox mount with the hardware provided. Tighten all the heat shield mounting bolts. On vehicles not equipped with EGR tube, remove the bolt shown which secures the steel vacuum lines to the engine. Secure the provided tube mounting bracket to the engine using the provided hardware. Install the provided silicone hose onto the throttle body and secure with the provided hose clamps. Remove the two screws that secure the mass air sensor onto the factory airbox. Then remove the mass air sensor. Install the mass air sensor into the intake tube and secure with provided hardware. Attach the provided 1/2-inch ID grommet into the intake tube as shown. Install the 90-degree barb fitting into the grommet that was installed into the K&N intake tube in the previous step. Install the K&N intake tube into the silicone hose at the throttle body and align with the mounting bracket installed in step 18. Secure the intake tube with hose clamp and hardware provided. Connect the provided crankcase vent hose to the 90-degree barb fitting on the K&N intake tube. Then attach the open end of the vent hose onto the valve cover vent port. Attach the K&N filter onto the intake tube and secure with the provided hose clamp. Reconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Reinstall the fresh air intake scoop and secure with the factory retaining clips. Reconnect the negative battery cable and double check to make sure everything is tightened and properly positioned before starting the vehicle. K&N dyno testing has shown a power gain of about 7 horsepower with this air intake. Results will vary. It will be necessary for all K&N Typhoon intake kits to be checked periodically for realignment, clearance, and tightening of all connections. Failure to follow the instructions or proper maintenance may void warranty. This intake kit is not legal for highway use in California or other states adopting California emission standards. Check our website for up-to-date information on emissions legality for specific parts on specific vehicles and for a list of other CARB adoption states. K&N makes products for nearly every vehicle on the road. The K&N website allows you to search products by vehicle or dimension, download installation instructions, view dyno charts showing typical horsepower gains for this product, and view product details. For more information on where to buy K&N products, go to knfilters.com.